summit at Shawnee State University. My name is Jeff Bauer. I'm president of Shawnee State, and we're here also to celebrate 25 years of our sports management program. First off, I'd like to acknowledge all the alumni out there joining us. You're very special to us, and we think that you're as much a part of us now as you were when you were going to school. I've been president for just a few years, but I've been around here for quite a while. I've been here for 34 years. So looking back, I was here when the sports management program first began. I've seen it start, I've seen it grow both in size and reputation, and I've seen a lot of our students going through the program, graduating, and moving on to successful careers. I know that Dr. Steve Rader is very proud of the program, but my guess is Dr. Rader is just as proud of our alumni, the graduates from the sports management program. You know, a few years ago, the Shawnee State University went and redefined our mission. The previous mission was very, very long, 90-some words. Could not remember it, but I can remember it very well now. It's 9 words. We say that we are here, we prepare today's students to succeed in tomorrow's world. I think that the sports management program is an essential part of that. There are many of our graduates now that have gone through the program and gone on to successful careers. I might mention that we're doing pretty good too in a number of other areas. We have a number of areas where we have achieved success in academic excellence. Let me just name a couple of those programs. I don't know if you knew this, but our gaming programs are ranked number 9 in the country. We also have nationally recognized programs in plastics engineering technology, occupational therapy, a graduate program in mathematics, health science programs, and many others. We're doing a good job here at Shawnee State at providing academic excellence. But at the same time, that academic excellence is only as good as our students and our graduates. And for that, we turn to you as alumni at Shawnee State, and we recognize you for what you are. You're really the heart and soul of our institution. As we look at what makes the most, what provides the most success for our institution, we could say it's our academic programs, and it is, but at the same time, I will tell you that it's the successful stories that come from our alumni that make this institution what it is. Once again, have a great time at the summit, and with that, I want to also tell you that we hope that you'll remain connected to Shawnee State University because you will always be part of the Shawnee State family. Thank you.
You know, if I had been able to do this in person, you would get a chance to explore campus. And what I'm about to get into a little bit is a tour. And so let me go ahead and lead into that right now. And that those of you who have graduated more than 3 years ago, which is most of you alums, I don't know if any recent alums, most of you are more than 3 years ago, don't realize that we've had some changes on campus. That from the outside appearance, you may not see them, but when you walk inside a building, one of those changes was kind of shuffling some people around, and my office got moved out of the Rhodes, and we did about a $5 million renovation to the Rhodes Athletic Center that just opened up back in March. So what I want to do is play this tour for you, a video tour they did, and I'll be kind of narrating this as you go along. So those of you who had your classes in Rhodes or spent a lot of time, well, you all spent a lot of time in Rhodes. If you've been out more than 3 years, you all spent a lot of time in Rhodes Athletic Center, whether it was playing ball or going to classes, things like that. So I want to share this video with you, and I think you're going to be kind of surprised at some of the changes. So let me share this with you. And those of you who are recent graduates, you probably won't realize all the changes. So when you come in the front doors, some of you may remember this area over in here was the concession stand. The concession stand is gone. This is just an open area now, right? They sell concessions out of the other side of the building, but this is just an open area right now. So the concession stand is gone. So if we stopped in this, about to go into the athletics department, this window was cut, which used to be, depending on how long ago you were here, Jared Shoemaker's office, sports information office, could have been the secretary's office. That's now a receptionist area that's usually manned by a student. And if you remember when you went in down the hallway, there was just one solid wall down the left side of the hallway, and all the offices were on the right. Keep that in mind as we enter the athletic department. So along the side where there used to be coaches' offices, we now have a conference room. And everything over to the left, you can see offices. That wasn't there. When you're walking right down the middle here, it used to be just the hallway with the wall. Think of that, those were the classrooms that were just opened up, and now that became coaches' offices. This is the athletic department now. And that view was looking back toward the concession stand. Now we're going down that hallway where the classroom entrances used to be. You can see that there are no classroom doors anymore. That was the vending area there where the vending machines were. So if you remember the weight room on the bottom floor, that is now dedicated to student athlete fitness. This is a performance weight room. This is no longer for the general student population. This is for the student athletes alone. This fitness studio used to be room 115. Most of you will probably remember it as the athletic training room. But before that, it was a classroom and a fitness studio, but it got returned to its original purpose for yoga, aerobics, such type class, karate. So the athletic training room has been relocated. It is now on the court level of the roads, and right across the court where there used to be locker rooms and a big storage room. This is now the athletic training room. Okay, this is down in the health club area, and you're not going to recognize this area, because this is where you came in from kind of the riverside of the Rhodes Athletic Center, where the Golden Bears hung out. The part you're in right now is where the Golden Bears Lounge kind of used to be. And the area you're seeing straight ahead of you, guys, remember the racquetball courts. There are no racquetball courts anymore. The floor was raised. Remember, you went down to the racquetball courts. You had to take some steps down. The floor was raised to one level, and now this is what is in place of the racquetball courts. Back door when you came in, if you remember years ago, these would have been offices right in here where Chris Brown's office was. I think Coach Putnam's office was here at one time. Keenan Perry was here one time. These were offices along here. This got opened up. I stopped this year because, as you may or may not have heard, we added varsity swimming as a sport that started this year. So this office right here is the swimming coach's office. We're about to go into the course no jacuzzi, hot tub anymore. Those are all locker rooms now.
I'd like to take a few minutes to kind of provide an overview of the sport management program at Shawnee State University, where we've been over the last 25 years, kind of where we are now, and directions we think we're headed. Give thanks, as I mentioned earlier, to our advisory board. This board has been invaluable, an invaluable asset to me and the program. They are a constant source of resource to us and ideas for improving the program. So if you know any of these people, please reach out to them and thank them. They work tirelessly to make the program better, and I can't thank them enough for their loyalty to the program and their service. So let's trace the program history for those of you who are alumni. A lot of this won't be unfamiliar, but for those maybe new to the program or current students, you can see where we've been. So as we know, the sports studies program, as it was started in 1995. At that point, there were concentrations in athletic training and sport management. In 2001, then we added a concentration in exercise science. In 2005, due to accreditation requirements of the National Athletic Trainers Association, athletic training was split off from sports studies, and a separate degree was formed, the Bachelor of Science in Athletic Training. So after that point, sports studies was just exercise science and sport management. In 2013, the department structure on campus changed a little bit. Sports studies and athletic training both moved to a newly created department of rehabilitation and sport professions with the programs of PTA, OTA, and the Master of Occupational Therapy. That brings us to the kind of the current. In 2020, the athletic training program was discontinued. The nationwide athletic training is moving toward a master's degree as entry level, and so Shawnee State decided several years ago that was not a path that we saw as sustainable for us. So we decided to discontinue the program. So we no longer have an athletic training program at Shawnee State. In its place, there is a track within exercise science program that will prepare students to move on to graduate study in athletic training, as well as some other graduate areas. Also, during the last academic year, the separation of the program began in the State Department of Education approved separating degrees. Instead of having a Bachelor of Science in Sports Studies with concentrations in sport management and exercise science, we now have a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science and a Bachelor of Science in Sport Management. Concurrently, then, on July 1st, the department structure changed again. Exercise Science was moved into the Department of Allied Health Sciences. Mr. Tony Ward is the program director of that program. He continues to oversee it. And the sport management program was moved into the Department of Business Administration, which many will know makes total sense since many of our courses are in business if they're not in sport management. So that's where we are now. It's key program faculty. Obviously, I've been here for a long time. The program is 25 years old. I've been here for 24 of those years. Very proud to serve that in that function. I've added a couple adjunct faculty who I think have really augmented the program this year. First, Dr. Heath Hooper is the Dean of the Ledbetter College of Business and Associate Professor of Sport Management at Shorter University in Georgia. He teaches online for us. And more recent acquisition, Dr. Robert Philippi, an online adjunct faculty who is the Senior Associate Commissioner of Conference USA in Dallas. So let's talk about where the program is currently in the Bachelor of Science in Sport Management program, as I mentioned. It is now, as a degree, it's a major and will be noted as such on transcripts and diplomas. The major in sport management. We currently have concentrations then in business and marketing communication. By taking the business track, that essentially provides the student with a business minor, and by marketing communication, depending on their career goals and what courses they select, they can get a minor in marketing and or communication. So we think this will enhance students' marketability. Many of you are probably aware, hopefully most of you are aware, that we have a very strong gaming program. And we have reached out, we've got now a kind of an alliance between the business department and engineering department, and we're under development of a new minor and a concentration. So we're working on right now a minor program in esports management, which we will have approved hopefully during the fall semester and rolling out in January 2021, following that up with one of the concentrations under sport management in esports management, which we hope to roll out a year from now in the fall. One of the things I have harped on with my students forever, and if you're an alum, you do know this, is the importance of experience and how much experience you can gain even just right here on the Shawnee State campus. About a year ago, I was at a basketball game and just looking around and noticing how many current or former students were involved in some aspect of the management of that game. And so this isn't even all of them. These were all students, current or former students, working one particular basketball game at Shawnee State. So if you look across the back row, I'll just, without giving names, we have alumnus, current student, current student, current student, current student, alumnus, current student, 2 alums and 2 current students next to me. And again, there were other current students who were involved in the game who weren't in that particular photograph, but I was exceptionally proud of this moment that people are understanding the importance of experience and what experiences can be gained right here on campus. Along with that, as I continue to emphasize the experience aspect in making yourself marketable, students have pursued internships and jobs in the field, and I just wanted to give you a flavor. This is not all encompassing, but it's a pretty good list of where our students have been over the years, where students have been either as internships or jobs, former or current jobs. This is where our students have been or are currently right now, and I think you'll agree with me. It's not a shabby list. It's a pretty impressive list of where they've been able to go on internships or jobs. And so as we continue to build the program, these opportunities will no doubt increase. But I'm very proud of where our students have gone and are right now. One of the things that's developed is Shawnee Sports Net. Shawnee Sports Net, if you've not heard, is the broadcast arm of SSU athletics. This was actually started in 2011. In the fall of 2010, a few students came to me and asked if they could broadcast SSU baseball games on the internet. Gave them the support they needed. It's really kind of easy to do. A platform and a laptop and you're broadcasting, basically. So we started broadcasting baseball games at Shawnee State in 2011. We've expanded that in 2016. The athletics department went into a program called Stretch Internet, which is used literally by hundreds of schools across the country. And we expanded. We started doing basketball games. So we've been doing home games, Mid-South Conference Tournament, and NAIA tournament games over the last 4 years. We've developed quite a solid listenership, as you might imagine. Just over the last 2 years, I mentioned Stretch Internet, over the last 2 years, 18-19 and 19-20, we've broadcast 100 Shawnee State athletic events with over 12,000 total listeners. So we're very proud of that as we continue to build that and reach out, expand the reach. But Shawnee Sports Net is a function of the sport management program. We provide the audio commentary on the games. So as we see what the program has done, sport management over 25 years, the Sports Net with 11 years old, and now this inaugural Sports Leadership Summit. And we're excited to see where we go in the future, but this is as we continue to build the program and grow in reputation. So I mentioned the advisory board that I rely on heavily, and we've had a lot of discussions over the last couple of years about where the program should go and what opportunities we should be providing for students. And one of the questions I asked them was, what activities were impactful to you when you were a student at Shawnee State University? And those will be kind of the focus of future activities to make sure that current and future students have those same opportunities they had. So as we do this, we need to, obviously in this climate, need to develop revenue sources to support these activities. But I wanted to give you some ideas of what came up. So we're seeking funds to develop, first of all, support for off-campus student internships. Many of you who are in the field or have been in the field know that a lot of internships in the field are either low pay or no pay. And even if they are paid, they often don't cover all the expenses. So if a student would go, for example, over a summer and do an internship, they might get a few $100s a month, but that's not going to cover all their expenses. So in those cases where students do seek those types of experiences, we'd like to be able to support them a little bit more so they get that quality experience. Second of all, an annual field trip. We have done that in the past sporadically as funds are available. Some alums might remember we have made a trip to the Cleveland Indians. We have been to the Columbus Crew. We've been to the Cincinnati Bengals. I'd like to continue those types of trips as I think they're very impactful and they're very useful. Obviously, we always have a need for scholarships, and so if you're inclined to do that, we appreciate scholarships and program. And then further, we want to develop awards and recognition for current and former students. As we've grown over the years, and our students and alumni accomplish things, we like to recognize that in some formal way. So, if you'd like to get involved with this, two ways to people to contact. Either you can contact me directly at srader@shawnee.edu, or Chris Moore, our Director of Development, cmoore@shawnee.edu. We'd be happy to get you involved in however you'd like to help us out with the program. Again, to get involved, and just if you want to watch what we're doing, you can follow us on Facebook or on Twitter. We're on both platforms. Alumni, particularly, I want to target. If you want to get involved in the program, let me know. We've got a form you can fill out. There are various ways you can get involved, anyway from hosting interns to serving as a guest speaker in classes to possibly serving on the advisory board, to being part of their network and a professional resource as they get involved in the field, to supporting activities financially. There's just a myriad of ways you can get involved in the program. Similarly, prospective students, if you're interested in this is a great field. Our students have a lot of good things to say. So please get in touch with me, and I'd love to get you involved with the program. Having said that, it's time to turn it back, and we'll get ready for the start of the program.
All righty. I am now going to turn it over to George and the panel, and we'll go ahead and start with the panel discussion since we're right at 10:30. Guys, take.
Hey, good morning, and welcome everyone to our 25th anniversary celebration. I'm George W. Gamble II, alumni of 2008 and current Management Advisory Board member. I will be the moderator for this discussion. Since I have graduated from Shawnee in 2008, I have served as an intern, coach, tournament director, and athletic administrator at several youth and high school programs. I currently service the Columbus City Schools at Marion Franklin High School as an athletic administrator. I also currently serve as an adjunct professor for Franklin University here in Columbus, Ohio, in the sports management program. Ladies first, Kristy, if you would introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Kristy Kamer. I graduated, they say 2000, I say 1999. I am currently at Montreat College down in Black Mountain, North Carolina. I'm the head volleyball coach here, and I currently teach as well. Never thought that would happen, but I teach in the kind of like the exercise science and a couple of the sports management classes that we have going on my 9th season. Just kind of living life in the mountains.
All right, Chris, if you would.
Certainly, I'm Chris Dunham. Thank everyone for coming out. I'm glad to see Todd Votter got off the golf course long enough to join us today. I'm born and raised in West Portsmouth, Ohio. I came to Shawnee State. I thought I was going to be an ESPN talking head or a beat writer for a sports team. So I came to Shawnee State and graduated in 2009 with a sport management degree. While I was there, I worked for the local newspaper and worked for the Shawnee State newspaper while carrying a couple other jobs. And all that hard work paid off because the year after I graduated, I landed an internship with the PGA Tour in Northeast Florida. And that turned into 7 years of 24/7, 365 golf. In 2017, I departed Florida and came to where I currently am, Allentown, Pennsylvania, to accept the position of Director of Digital Media and Communications for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, which is the AAA affiliate of the Philadelphia Phillies. I handle email marketing and social media website, publication design, a lot of other odds and ends. It's minor league baseball. You do a little bit of everything. And I'm just really happy to be here today to chat with you all.
All right, Kevin, if you would.
Kevin Valerius, a lot like Kristy said, I think they list me as 2011. I thought it was 2010 graduate. Either way, also shout out to Kristy. She was actually my golf. She taught the golf class when I was she was the volleyball coach, and she taught golf. So I owe everything, my swing, my short game. I owe it all to Kristy.
Thank you.
Yeah, but no, 2010, 2011 graduate. Since then, I've worked in minor league baseball, Myrtle Beach Pelicans. And then I've also worked in logistics, but for the last 7+ years, I've worked at BB&T Arena, which was also the Bank of Kentucky Center. I've worked in marketing, box office, but my main head title has been conversion manager, basically in charge of all the late night setups and teardowns from one event to the other. Northern Kentucky University men's and women's basketball is our main tenant, but pre-COVID, we also hosted rap concerts, country concerts, comedy shows, cheerleading events, dance, cheer mom type stuff. I mean, the circus, Cirque du Soleil, monster trucks, almost anything that you could think of event wise. We've done it. So yeah, like I said, been there for going on my 8th year, and yeah, enjoy that, and just enjoy being part of this today. So
Good, thank you. Don, you're up.
Good morning, everybody. Having connectivity issues. Hopefully it'll hold up for me. But obviously, I'm born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. Graduated in 1994 from DeSales High School. Had kind of a journey through my college experience. Originally attended Miami, Ohio. Was there for a year. Then kind of migrated back home, went to Columbus State for 2 years. That's where I started my playing career, and that's what led me to transfer to Shawnee State, where I was able to finish out my playing career. That led me into my coaching career. I actually coached 1 year as an assistant under Jeff Hamilton. Wanted to stay on the college level, but I was also kind of homesick, ready to come home. So when I did, after that year of coaching, I came home and, with this degree, I was looking to work in the sports industry. So originally I started off, I was working at a basketball facility here in Columbus that no longer exists, called The Hoop. But then I was also working in the ticket office at Nationwide Arena and at Huntington Park, which is Nationwide Arena is the home of Columbus Blue Jackets. Obviously, they host all kind of other events, very similar to what Kevin was speaking on. And then obviously Huntington Park is the home of the Columbus Clippers. So I was really working in the sports industry, but my passion was always coaching. So it was one of those where that didn't really allow me schedule-wise to fulfill that and do what it was that I needed to do. So I ended up becoming a substitute teacher. I subbed at several local schools, middle schools, high schools for several years until I was able to get an opportunity to be a lead teacher. I've been a lead teacher now this is my 12th year. Currently at Kip Columbus High School. I'm also the head boys basketball coach there. Of course, my coaching, that was a journey as well. As I said, I started as an assistant under Jeff Hamilton. It's kind of the same thing here. I migrated through several high schools, including my alma mater, Harvest Prep. Obviously had plenty of success. I was an AAU coach, back-to-back national titles, 2008, 2009, national AAU runner-up, 2014. On the high school level, I've helped programs win 5 district titles, 3 state Final Four appearances, and a state runner-up in 2011. So now I'm getting the opportunity to lead my own program. Obviously, with Kip being a new school, I'm really excited because I'm getting to build the program from the ground up, and we're in the 4th year. And I'm just right now it's an exciting time. Obviously, COVID is changed a lot of things, the way we operate, but I'm definitely excited because basketball season is right around the corner. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak with these other speakers.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate everyone on our panel attending this discussion. And COVID is going to be our first topic for the evening. COVID and the industry that you're in. How might the industry? I'm going to ask this discussion to our panel. How might the industry change post COVID for the industry you're in as far as facilities or coaching? Let's start with Kevin first.
Yeah, I mean, with us, like I said, everything happened. We were just wrapping up a high school basketball tournament, and we were getting ready to turn the arena over to a marching band competition when COVID hit. Obviously, we all started seeing the dominoes fall when all the college basketball conference tournaments started canceling and stuff like that. It was just one big shockwave. So since April, I've actually been furloughed, working every other week, just trying to stay busy on those weeks that I have been working. I did just get word that, like I said, with being on NKU's campus, they are going to try to. The Horizon League is going to have a season. I think they're going to try to have fans, but so like right now, the arena has been set up, doubles as a practice facility with them. So we have we have their game court and their practice court laid down right now. So starting here in a couple of weeks, again with this college basketball season tipping off around Thanksgiving Eve, we're going to have to pick up that practice court, reshift that game court to its original position, and then just prepare as if we're going to have, 15 to 20% capacity. The arena holds a little over 10,000. I haven't seen the seating chart plans and what they're going to try to do for that. I think obviously we're going to have to shift around where our media row would normally be. I'm not sure with season ticket holders as far as our court side and baseline seats, how that's going to go. So I'm sure it's going to be a trial by ear and see how we can accommodate it all. I know normally we would have different events on the calendar. We don't have NKU advised us we were not allowed to entertain any events until 2021. We have a country concert on the books for May. That could happen. I won't be surprised if that gets rescheduled or canceled again as well. So it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah, COVID has been a whirlwind for everyone this year. Kristy, what about you? How is it's going to affect your industry post?
Yeah, so when it all hit, it shut down our college for a little bit. So our spring season was taken away. However, the conference we're in, the presidents just really wanted everybody back. So we are actually playing. We're playing conference only. No fans. So our gym is small. It's kind of like Hoosiers, really small, packed all the time for home games. And now it's just us and the other team that we're playing in our game management. So it's crazy, but for us, we're blessed that we're able to play. I'm only allowed one overnighter, and that's up to Kentucky Christian that I had the other day. So if I got 2 games on the road, I got to go there on a Friday, come back, turn around, go back on a Saturday. So we're lucky to still be playing. We've had 5 teams that have actually had to shut down in our conference because of COVID. We've had two teams that have only played 2 games, and they've been in quarantine for 30 days, and they just came out. Yeah, so we're really lucky here, knocking on my table here, my desk with wood, that we can still finish strong.
Totally understand. Hey, Chris, what about you? How's this going to affect you?
Yeah, we're a baseball team, and we average close to 9,000 fans per game under normal circumstances. So it's very different for us coming out of this. We're in Pennsylvania, which is still one of the strictest states in terms of restrictions. We're still not allowed to have more than 250 people, even at an outdoor gathering. We did get 2 special exceptions for that, where we divided the ballpark in half because we hosted some high school baseball, like senior night activities. And so like one half of the stadium could be for one school or one half of the county and the other half for the other. So we could get a few more parents in there because we did like a senior night and had all the kids for baseball and softball walk across the field and get their picture taken with the video board in the background. As far as next year goes, we're planning one plan for a full ballpark each game, one plan for 50% capacity, and one plan for no fans or games, because as you may or may not know, there was no minor league baseball this season, and we don't know yet what the status of the season is for next year. So we're just trying to plan for any and everything that could happen, because it could mean, or we could come out of this and be business as usual next year, or we could come out of it and be not twiddling our thumb, but trying to scramble to think of other ways to use the ballpark next year outside of baseball.
Hey, Don, I know when we were backstage, you were talking about how some things have definitely affected you as a physical education teacher at KIPP. Tell us a little.
In the teacher role, I mean, it's tough because, I mean, naturally physical education is meant to happen, you know, in an intimate setting, in a gym. You're meant to be physical. And right now, being totally virtual, it's kind of tough. It's really changed my entire curriculum, my entire series of lesson plans, simply because, you know, year after year, I'm used to being in the gym and being able to teach physical fitness, but then also being able to teach games, teach rules, because a lot of the standards in PE, that's what they kind of cover. You know, is obviously, is a student capable of doing this physical skill? Are they able to understand strategy and concepts like that? And those are things that you really can't exhibit through virtual learning for PE. So it's definitely been a struggle from that point of view, as far as the you know, the teaching aspect. And I mean, our campus, as I mentioned before, our campus has really taken the COVID seriously. When it first hit, our whole campus was shut down. Like nobody had access to it, which then also affected, you know, the athletics in Ohio. June is a big basketball month. So, you know, to not be able to get in the gym with my guys, that's a lot of preparation that, you know, you spend a lot of time planning for that we didn't even get to follow through on. So this has definitely affected, you know, both aspects of my profession and what I do. So yeah, it's definitely brought some changes along for sure.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys. So we're going to move on to our second topic here. And this topic is going to deal with diversity in your industry or the workplace that you are currently in. And the first question I want to ask is, what initiatives have been developed or accelerated in your organization? Chris, what about you? How has diversity how has diversity developed or accelerated within your organization?
I mean, we're very active in the community, and one of the leaders, I guess, in minor league baseball of pushing the envelope, being progressive, and kind of helping represent underprivileged or groups that have not gotten the same respect as other groups in the past. We were one of the first teams in minor league baseball to host a LGBT Pride Night. We had Billy Bean, not Moneyball Billy Bean, but first openly gay Major League Baseball player Billy Bean come and speak to both teams before the game, and he did a little bit of a speak with some fans prior to the game. We've been very active with our Hispanic Heritage initiatives. We actually host 2 interns from a local Hispanic-based charity each year. So we have 2 high school students with Hispanic backgrounds come in and work like 3 days a week over the summer. I guess those are the 2 biggest ones. Minor league baseball as a whole is pushing a lot of different diversity initiatives. I know that ADA was going to be a big push in 2020 we had a season. And just, I guess that those are the 3 biggest areas where we're like reaching out and trying to help out in the community.
Appreciate it. Hey, Kara, I want you to discuss how how diversity is as far as employee recruitment and service constituencies. Hey, Kristy.
I thought you said Kara.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kristy. I do apologize. Kristy, if you could, employee recruitment, how diversity is with your organization, with employee recruitment and service constituencies.
Yeah, that's a really tough question for our school. Montreat's it's a liberal arts, but it's a Christian school. So I'm gonna try to be as respectful as I can to answer this. We have a covenant that we have to sign. Our president has certain rules for people that he hires. A student can come to Montreat. They can be, they can be bisexual, whatnot, but to be an employee, that can't happen. I don't always agree with everything, but it's my job, so I got to be really careful. I will say that I think our employment, there just needs to be more color. I don't think we have enough our school is completely 75% athletes. So we have a lot of color with our athletes and stuff like that. I think it could be better, but I kind of tough position. I think that's probably all I should say right now, so I don't get myself in trouble.
Sometimes when we join certain organizations, as we became adults and started working in the professional industry, I feel that organizations have policy and procedures that they prefer for you to follow because that is what they want for their campus. And I'm going to lead into Don because I know that KIPP is very particular about their employment hiring and their policy and procedures of who they hire.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, first of all, they respect all diversity. I mean, we have a very diverse staff. I know, Kristy touched on obviously the sexuality, things like that. I mean, obviously we have quite a few gay LGBT working on our staff. They are trying to increase the diversity based off of race, which our student population is 90% minority. And, so that's very important because I've always believed that, students learn best when they have someone who looks like them or what they're learning is reflective of their culture. And so that is something that's very important. And actually this year, there's really been a strong initiative when we started our professional development with everything going on with all the race relations in our country and everything right now. Our school leader thought it was very important for us to really kind of focus on that. And actually, we have an initiative this year it's entitled Excellence and Equity. And basically what it is anti-racism training. And for that, what we've had some featured speakers come in, well, not come in, but virtually. We've had a couple featured speakers who, are well known. We've had to make a vow as staff, to make a conscious change in being anti-racist or anti-gay or whatever. We've also actually been given accountability partners within our staff. And between the accountability partners, what we do is we get together. There can be articles that we have to read, and then we basically exchange a dialogue. And there's like 4 buckets that they've kind of created for this, and I'll just go through them real quick. But it's like the 4 buckets where we talk about are: 1, we allow our dialogue to lead to action. 2, we disrupting the narrative. 3, uplift voices of the marginalized. And then 4, interrogate our assumptions, because obviously we all do have assumptions. We all do have, ways that we feel or viewpoints that we have that, that we need to kind of, question those and make changes. So this actually is very big on our campus right now. And I mean, we've taken some serious steps to try to address that. Like I said, I think the one area where I agree with Kristy with my school also is that I do wish that we had more staff of color, because our student body is 96% minority, and our staff is probably more at 24%. So there's a big disparity there, but we are making a push to make sure that there is equity on our campus.
Thanks. Another part of this topic I want to touch on, and I'm going to let Kevin go first on this one, is cross-cultural experiences you have had within your organization. As far if you've been involved with the hiring process, what are the experiences you have had with cross-cultural and hiring and work?
Yeah, for sure. So growing up in Cincinnati, Ohio, I went to Princeton High School, which back then, I don't know what the numbers are now, but I think when I was at Princeton, I want to say it was 68, almost 70% African-American. And going to Princeton, it was actually, even though that was the number for African-Americans, it was still an extremely diverse high school setting. So when I got to Shawnee State, it was actually it was more culture shock coming to Shawnee and Portsmouth. And, all of a sudden I would only see 2 or 3 black people at lunch, or there was only like a couple Asian people. And I was just like, I was so used to this melting pot at Princeton where I was just like, what's going on here? So as far as my hiring process and the staff that I'm in charge of, I have about 35 to 40 part-time staff people, and I try to keep it as diverse as possible. Before I took over, there was no females on staff. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I have had, I think about 5 different females on my part-time staff since I've taken over. One of which has ended up becoming one of our team leads. So I just the way that I try to incorporate it, whatever your background is, I judge you off your reliability and dependability and your work ethic. And it doesn't matter to me, male, female, race, religion. I mean, long as you're going to come, long as I can depend on you and know that you're going to bring it when it comes to work, I'm all for it. So I don't discriminate no matter what.
I'll just jump right in while he's reconnecting. I'll echo what Kevin said. It's a great thing to have diverse opinions, mindsets, appearances, everything like that in an organization. But I agree, it shouldn't be a priority. I wouldn't go into a hiring process closing my eyes and say, okay, my ideal person looks like this, talks like this, sounds like this, whatever. I'm looking for the person that best fits the job with maybe a couple exceptions. For example, we do have a lot of Hispanic initiatives, so it'd be great to have somebody Spanish speaking. So there's been processes where I'll let, Spanish speakers, okay, let's bump them up a couple notches before the interview process, kind of up my priority list. But otherwise, I just want the best person for the job. I want somebody that wants to come in and work hard, is willing to learn, and just has a really good personality.
Good. Last thing before we get off this topic is going to be, how important do you feel, some of you may have touched on this already, but how important do you feel cross-cultural experiences in college are for preparing for the workforce? Let's go with Kristy.
I think that's important, because where I'm from, I grew up in Granville, Ohio, which is a half hour, 45 minutes east of Columbus. Like, there wasn't a lot of color. I had I think 3 in my high school. We were next to Newark, who had more, and I had friends from Newark and stuff like that. It is a shell shocker when you go to certain schools and there's just no diversity whatsoever. I'll say on my team, I have 9 ladies who are African American, and it's great. I love it because we're trying to help these kids realize everybody deserves something in this world, no matter who you are. Asian, Black, white, Jewish, Christian, no matter what, everybody deserves a chance. And that's what I try to coach. When I'm coaching, I put in with my kids, I don't look at you as color. I don't look at you. I had a kid from Kosovo on my team. I don't look at you as Muslim. You're a human being. So that's what I really try to bring into my program to help prepare these kids. And I also tell them, you got to be prepared because you never know what you're going to face in this world right now. But, it's be strong, be who you are, and make something of yourself.
Agree. And I believe that's what it was for me as well. When the word culture shock is definitely something that hit me when I went to Portsmouth. I went to Catholic high school, predominantly white Catholic school. And then the school that I graduated from, Cleveland Central Catholic, was very mixed, all different races. And then when I came to Shawnee, I said, whoa, hold on. There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and none of them. And that was dealing more with our foreigners. Our foreigners that came to Shawnee were typically exchange students. And I think that is an area in college that we can become more diverse, is understanding the languages and religions that come from outside of the United States that we are not familiar with on a normal day-to-day basis. I'm going to go ahead and over to Chris with the same question.
certainly it's tremendously important to be exposed to as many different cultures or different types of thought as early as possible. So I kind of have a similar experience to Kristy. I went to Portsmouth West High School right there in Sayota County. So basically everyone there looked like me, had a similar experience or life experience coming from, I guess it's still considered Appalachia. And then Shawnee State, to me, it was a little more than a toe in the water. You get to meet a lot of people from the region and some international students. And then even further, as I went to grad school, I would meet even more. And then as I moved to Florida, I was working with people from around the globe. In our office, there were people from Korea and Australia and England and all over the United States as well. So just getting to hear from different people, hear different dialects. The people talk differently in the South or in California than they do in Portsmouth or New York or anywhere else. So just getting as much exposure as you can at a young age is very important, because you don't know who you're going to run into, where you're going to end up in life. So the more you can, the better. I know it's hard in that area to force it or jump into it, but it's a good thing, to answer the question.
Appreciate it. We're going to move on to our final topic, and this is going to be professional development. All of us has had some professional development once we left Doc's classes, and I think right now for our undergraduate and our most recent graduates that are here, discuss about the professional development certifications or extra training that you have done since you left Shawnee. And I'll start off first. I know with me, when I left Shawnee, it was about getting into the workforce. Let's just go to work. Let's find somewhere to start using our skills and training. However, it was a whirlwind once I got into those positions and had to do a couple of internships. I also went and got my master's degree from OU in athletic administration. So those are some things I know I did. Also certifications, joined the NIAAA to have my registered athletic administrator license, and that was specific towards the industry that I wanted to go in, which was high school athletic directing and interscholastic athletics. Kevin, what about you?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool how Chris is still working in minor league baseball. When I was at Shawnee, I found out I really liked the facility aspect of everything. So I knew I wanted to do like facilities and specifically minor league baseball. Like for what I think it was the movie Bull Durham that just like kind of like spoke to me. I was like, the whole minor league baseball life and debauchery that kind of came with it, I'll be honest, that attracted to me. So I mean, when I graduated, I took an internship with the arena that I was at, but I always made this list of cities and areas where minor league baseball was and where I wanted to maybe live and work. And like I said, I finally was able to get an internship after graduation with Myrtle Beach Pelicans, because I was like, minor league baseball and I get to live at the beach. So that was it. That was perfect. And then along with that, I was able, with that internship, even though I was technically in the community relations and marketing department, I got to do sales. I got to work grounds crew, box office. I mean, minor league baseball, like, Chris can attest to, like, it's all hands on deck a lot of times. Doesn't matter what department you're in, you're probably going to have to pull tarp at some point. And so that was one big thing. And then I guess one training thing that I never thought I was going to need when I got to the arena was that I had to get forklift certified. I never would, when I was at Shawnee, I would have never thought that I'd have to drive a forklift at all. That was one thing, one thing I didn't see coming, but like I said, that's part of the job too. So, just always, got to keep an open mind with no matter what the position may be.
Kristy, go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, I might be one of the rare people that always knew I wanted to go into coaching. I started my college coaching career when I was actually at Columbus State Community College when I was getting my associates there. It took me a little bit to get back into it. I actually had the honor of coaching at Shawnee. I was when I was there, and since then I've got my master's in coaching education at OU. I do coaching clinics. Like I go to them. I go to D1 coaching clinics. I reach out to them. This game is always changing. And as a coach, if you aren't out there just learning, you're not going to go anywhere. I'm part of the AVCA, which is the American Volleyball Coaches Association. I'm part of that. I am actually co-chair of our AAC conference. So just always trying to broaden my horizon in my brain so I don't get too bored, stuff like that. So there's stuff out there. I just always got to find it.
Remember her name, guys. I guarantee you, you're going to see her name posted somewhere on someone's Hall of Fame somewhere. Don, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off what Kristy said, as far as the coaching aspect, definitely there's a lot of certifications, by OSHA that you have to have, CPR, first aid. I mean, those are just good to have anyway. But, a lot of coaching certifications also, classes that they make you take one time. I definitely want to reiterate what she says, becoming a member of the organization. So like our local organization here in Central Ohio is District 10. So I'm a member of the District 10 Coaches Association. I'm also a member of the Ohio State Basketball Coaches Association. I go to both of those clinics every year. Obviously, the clinics changed this year. Our District 10 was virtual, and the state clinics probably the same way. And that's a big deal because the state clinic to me is actually something I really enjoy. It's usually held at the Columbus Convention Center. Usually able to go down there, intermingle with other coaches, look at a bunch of different products, and then for 2 days, it's you're sitting there and they're bringing in big time college coaches, men's and women's coaches and professional coaches, and they're actually on the floor showing you different drills, showing you different offenses. So it's that constant evolution as a coach. I think those are some things from a coaching point of view that definitely I would reiterate. From the teaching point of view, PE is kind of a dying subject. So it's really hard to find PE certifications on different universities now. So what I would suggest is, once again, there are organizations like in Ohio, there's OFERD, which is they have a conference every year up at Kalahari, and that's a great 3-day conference where you can go up there, once again, learn from other physical educators, look at different products that are in the industry. NASPE is the national organization of physical education. Obviously, you can go online. There's different companies like Spark, Shape America, PE Central that offer classes, offer different certifications. And then my other suggestion that kind of goes along with the coaching is, contact others in your industry. I think that's another way to develop yourself, is that, there's nothing wrong with, as a coach, calling somebody and saying, hey, can I come sit in on your practice? Or even as a teacher, hey, can, you give me some ideas, or can I come sit in on one of your classes? So that's just, I think, another suggestion that doesn't have to be super formal. You can just contact other people that are in your industry that you respect and, pick their brain, take some of what they do and put it into what you do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's always about constant evolution.
I agree with the networking. That is something that I did when I moved from Cleveland to Columbus in 2013. I said, I'm losing all of my network that I had already had. So I had to started rebuilding my network, getting to know the sports scene here in Columbus on the youth sports and high school sports. And one connection led to another. Had an internship at Bishop Hartley that I loved. And then after that, things just started to roll. Became an adjunct professor from networking, from my full-time position, which I was a leasing agent for apartments. And then that connection led to my first athletic administrator position and phys ed teacher at a public charter school. So your network, communicating with people in the industry that you're wanting to go in as far as sports, will definitely assist an undergraduate or a recent graduate. Even to the alumni that we have here at Shawnee, reach out to Doc and say, hey, is there any alumni in the industry that I can contact to get some information on? Or, hey, can I get a heads up of a position possibly? Those things definitely will help undergraduate and our recent graduates. We are now at the time of questions from anyone out there. If you would like, you can put your questions in the live chat room, and I will read those off to our panel here. If you have a specific question to specific panelists, put their name first and then the question, if you would. I want to thank Doc for this opportunity to allow myself and the alumni here on the panel to kind of give you a feel for what we've been up to, you know, why you haven't seen our face and why we've been kind of ducked off in a corner somewhere the last few years. Chris, you mentioned the high school senior night. What are some of the other non-baseball activities that you have hosted this summer?
It's been a pretty busy summer here. Whenever the COVID thing first hit, we kind of scrambled trying to think, what can we do for the community? Because our park is like the town square, the meeting place for the Lehigh Valley in the summertime. So we hosted a couple events early in the process. Two were character cruise throughs where it was a kind of a reverse parade where we would have Disney characters, mascots, Minions, Angry Birds, whatever. They would stand along the parking lot at the ballpark, and the guests would pay admission to drive through and wave and interact with the characters that way in a socially distant manner. We also hosted a couple drive-in fireworks shows where we couldn't bring people in the stadium. We could park cars 6 feet apart in the parking lot and shoot off fireworks behind the ballpark where you could see from the parking lot. During or before both of those, we did a Facebook live stream of a live music concert. Normally we'd have live music at those events for the people in the ballpark, but since there was no one allowed in the ballpark, we'd set them up in the park and then do a Facebook Live where you could tune in from your phone, from your vehicle. Moving into the summertime, we added bingo nights. It was very successful. We sold out, I think, 10 or 11 different bingo nights, including our grand finale, which included cow plop bingo on the field. Somebody won $1,000 where the cow made its mark on the field. We've done a couple movie nights, and I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, we hosted a few trivia nights as well.
Good. All right, this is to anyone from the panel. If you had to work in another area of sports outside of the role you're currently in, what would you choose and why? I think I'll start that one off. If I had to work out in another area of the sports, for me, I would want to be a sports agent. Sports agent is probably something that I would like to do. Have to learn a lot of business law, sports law. A lot of that is going on.
Just watch Jerry Maguire. Just watch Jerry Maguire and take notes. You'll be fine.
Yeah, show me the money.
Show me the money.
Who wants to take that first? Who wants to answer that? All right, go ahead, Kevin.
I'll tell you that. Going off of the Shawnee Sports Net, I had just graduated when that was becoming part of the program. And right when I graduated and saw that became part of it, I remember thinking to myself, man, that is awesome. That is so cool. That's something that I think I would have I'm not saying I'd still be in it today, but when I saw that we added that to the program, that would have been something that would have really piqued my interest. I guess sports talk radio was something like that. I mean, just being able to cover that in a city somewhere would have been really cool. So like I said, I remember reaching out to Doc when you guys added that, and I just was like, I think that is such a good add-on to the program. So I would say sports talk radio, calling games, stuff like that, basketball or baseball.
What about you, Don?
I think I would either do one or two things. One, I would either try to go back and work for, an NBA franchise or an NFL franchise because I love that aspect of it. Or also, get into an athletic director role. I think that's something else that it interests me to kind of, run an entire athletic program, have your hands in, and just all the different details of an athletic program. So I think, other than just being a coach, those would probably be the two things that I would look to do if I wasn't coaching.
Kristy?
Yeah, I actually got to work for a professional team, and that was kind of a little dream of mine. It only lasted about a year and a half. It was they brought in a 4-team indoor professional volleyball, so I got to work in the front office. So that was pretty cool. I don't know. I've always thought about being a teacher, and you never know where your life is going to take you for maybe a high school, so that might happen. But we'll see.
Hey, Chris, what about you?
I think I'd want to work at a school, either in sports information, athletic communications, or some kind of marketing and communications type role.
All right. Casey said, "Wow, no one for sales."
It's
No.
a personality. It's a personality for sales.
Yeah.
I want to apologize. I want to apologize to Kevin because the advisory board gives me ideas on the curriculum and what courses to offer. And maybe this is the advisory board's fault, but heavy equipment operation was never one of their suggestions. I don't know if that's something that maybe we need to enhance the skill set, and I can consider adding. But I apologize. We fell short on you. I let you down. I'm sorry, Kevin.
No worries. No worries.
Here's a question. It's directed towards Kristy, but anyone could answer. In the coaching position, in the hiring process, would you prefer strong experience and references or people who attended grad school?
Well, I have talked to both. And actually, the girl that I just hired only finished 1 year of her GA position. But her resume, she played in college, she's coached, she's recruited. She started at a college actually, and their school shut down. So for me, I'd rather have someone with more experience than having your master's. But I will tell you that that is something that a lot of schools are going to, and that coaching is, especially the head coach, to have their master's. Like a small school like me, if you want to teach, you have to have your master's, and that's extra money because here at Montreat, I don't make the big bucks. So it helps bring in some, salary for our family.
I know for me, as an athletic director and hiring coaches, I do look at the experience, but I also look at the camaraderie that I have with that coach. The camaraderie that you as an administrator, the camaraderie that I have with a coach is probably one of the number one things you want to have, because you're building a relationship that you want to have for a long term. You don't want to have, as coaches, you don't want to have a high turnover on your coaches. You want to have a relationship to where things can get handled one-on-one. And if there are issues, it's handled one-on-one. And so you want to have that relationship with coaches as an administrator, and make sure that there's camaraderie. Experience is always there. There's always professional development for coaches, especially on a high school level. But experience, I think the higher you go in your level of playing. So if you're on a college level, coaches have to have that master's degree, and the necessary experience. On a high school level, it's a give and take, because you have teachers that have presidents for positions first, depending on the school district. So sometimes experience is not necessarily the issue. It's more the camaraderie and the know-how of that coach, depending on the level. Hey, Chris, what about you?
Yeah.
Or Kristy, go ahead. You got something?
Yeah, I was gonna piggyback off that a little bit. Like, you can have the greatest experience, you could have your master's, you could have all this stuff on your resume, but honestly, what it comes down to, if you and I don't get along, and we're gonna challenge each other. I want my coaches to challenge me, but if we don't see eye to eye on certain things, then you're not gonna get hired if you're just not at that same level with that coach.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to touch on that. Obviously, as a head high school coach, I think for me also, with the relationships between me and my coaches are definitely important. I also think the relationship between the assistants that I'm bringing in and the kids are important. And the other aspect of that is, a lot of high school kids don't have the experience that we have as far as the game that they're playing. So it's important for me to have assistant coaches that have that credibility of playing experience or coaching experience. For me, having a master's isn't really important for them to be able to coach 13, 14, 15-year-olds. For me, it's that credibility of being able, hey, you guys want to go play at the next level? This coach played here, and he went and played overseas and coached over here. This coach did this. It just, for the kids nowadays, it kind of gives a little bit of that instant credibility where they can say, oh, okay, you've been where I want to go. So now it kind of opens them up to listen. If I bring somebody in that doesn't necessarily have that kind of experience that a kid can look at and recognize, then they're less, amped to listen to them, or it takes a longer time as compared to me bringing in somebody that has that playing and possibly coaching experience at a high level. Those kids instantly, see it as credibility. And like I said, they buy in a lot quicker, which for my age group is very important.
Yeah.
I'd like to chime in just a second and answer the question. The question originally was is it better to have the experience and who you know, or the education? And I'm going to say, why is it one or the other? The experience is you get, the networking you get however you get it. Sometimes that's from going to graduate school. You get that. Another question in chat mentioned about who you know, which obviously is huge, but hopefully the panel, I'd ask you every one of you to respond to this one. But what I've been getting from alums who do the hiring anymore is that, the resume and who you know gets you to that interview stage. But then once that interview happens, it ain't about the resume, and it's about how you're clicking with that, your personality, how are you going to click with the organization. So would you each comment? That's what I've been getting the sense. So if you would go ahead and comment on that, each of you.
So for me, I stopped coaching at Shawnee in 2010. It wasn't for another year that I was like, I want to go back into college. Sorry, let me get my words. It was because of the old coach here. I knew her. We coached against each other. We had talked. He was leaving here, going to another school. She knew I was trying to get back into coaching, and she's like, do you want to come look here? So she helped me get my foot in the door, but it was me. It was me when I got here, walked on campus. It's how I presented myself. It is what I show them that I've done in the past, what I'm capable of doing. The small school needs a lot of fundraising. I know how to fundraise. I sold myself, and I didn't make myself something that I'm not. I am who I am. I have my mistakes. I miss all the time. I own them. Doc knows that. But you when you're going for an interview, be who you are. Don't be someone you're different. Don't try to impress them, because they're going to see right through you. Right. If that helps with what you're saying, Doc.
No, I'm waiting to hear from all you. You guys are the experts out there.
Yeah, no, and I definitely already touched on it. I think it's best if you have a combination. It definitely does not have to be either or. But I think, like I said, as we've touched on, those interpersonal relationships between, once again, the coaching staff itself, because of, if your assistants, as Kristy said, don't see eye to eye with you, it's like they're not really assistants, because you don't really know what they're teaching your players when you're not there. And a good head coach is going to delegate responsibility. A good head coach isn't going to try to do every little single thing by themselves. They've got to have a staff that they can trust to go out there, teach your players the right things and do it the right way. I think the other element that's also very important is the relationship between your assistants and the players. I did have a situation, in the last couple of years here where I had to remove a coach because the relationship was fairly toxic between he and a few of our players. And the product is my players. And it's like, if somebody that I have on my staff doesn't have those good interpersonal skills, I don't care what if you're not able to really speak with people or communicate with people in the correct way, you're never going to get that across. So I think, I definitely agree, Doc. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but I think obviously the interpersonal skills between coaches and coaches and players, and on my level, at least, coaches and families. That's another, issue that on the high school level, those interpersonal skills are so important. Obviously, Kristy, you coaching college athletes, you don't have to deal with that as much, in the recruiting process, but it's one of those where,
Oh, I do.
I mean, I'll say,
No, it's different.
It's in high school. It's one of those where, a parent wants to approach you if their kid only played 2 minutes, after every game type of deal. And I'm not saying that doesn't occur at the college level, but high school, it's one of those because that's still their baby. That's still, that kid, that child isn't 18 yet, where on the college level, they're legally an adult. So really that's where, and I know, I learned this through being a collegiate athlete. And when I was coaching college, it was kind of the same thing. You have to be your own advocate. And that's one of the things I try to teach my kids now, but they're still 14, 15, 16. At the end of the day, mom or dad still feels like they've got to come in and protect them and be their advocate. And that's just, those interpersonal skills are very important. Being able to deal with families is a very important skill on the high school level. Yeah,
that's true.
Yep.
I would say from real quick on my standpoint, I agree. It's definitely a combo. It was really unique with me when I was back home in Cincinnati after my stint in Myrtle Beach. I was working at a logistics company, but I wanted to get back into sports. Well, a fellow Shawnee alumni reached out to Doc and said, "Hey, we're trying to fill a full-time position." Doc knew that I was back in the area looking to get back into the field. Doc forwards me the email. "Hey, Evan Shepard went to Shawnee. He's working at BB&T Arena. They're looking to fill this." And that's where that the alumni connection was huge. I mean, granted, they knew me from, it was the same arena where I had worked 2 seasons as an intern and part-time. But to be able for Doc to be like, "Hey," forwarded that along, that was a huge part of how I got in. And then obviously, like I said, after that, the interview process, you feel like Kristy, I think everybody else said, you can't BS it or BS your way through it. Like, they'll see right through it. And I was able to sell myself on that. But the alumni connect, that was one, I think it's pretty unique and I still work, and Evan is now my boss. So it's still really cool to say that I get to work with a Shawnee alum every single day, which is really, really cool.
Something that just came out of chat, and I want to point out, because that's great that Evan hired you, but Elizabeth Warnemont, who's one of our alums, is also, she hired Evan as an intern. So Evan worked for Elizabeth. So one Shawnee State hired another as an intern, and then Evan hires you. So that's the networking, folks. That's what I want to happen in this program, is when you get out there and you have opportunities, you remember what it was like when you were a student and where those opportunities come from. This is our network, folks. This is our family.
Long blue line.
So here's a question. I wanted you guys to think about the one thing that you can give to a senior at Shawnee or any university, current senior at a university. What advice would you give them at this point? Take your time, think about it. The number one thing that you can give them.
I would say pick a finish line. Where do you want to end up? Where do you want your career to go? And then work backward from there. It's like, okay, I want to end up as general manager of a Major League Baseball team. To get there, I need to do this. To get to that point, I need to do this, and work back, and then start to go through that type of progression. I would say, while you have that goal in mind, don't paint yourself into a corner. When I was at Shawnee State, like I said, I wanted to be on ESPN talking head or a beat reporter for a pro sports team, but I didn't turn down opportunities. I was coaching high school basketball. I was working at a golf course. I was working at the Shawnee State paper, and I was working at the local paper at various points in my Shawnee State career. When I was in Florida, I was a journalist and website guy, and they needed social media help, and I volunteered. Social media became a big part of the next step in my career, and we won actually an award for social media my first year here in the Lehigh Valley. So you never know where you're going to end up. It's good to have a goal in mind and work towards that, but don't rule out opportunities to grow and develop tangentially or branched away from what your end goal is, because you can never have too many skills or be versatile enough.
Kristy?
I would say don't think you're too big for anything. I would go with every challenge that you're given. Don't burn bridges. That I think kids don't understand that these days. They get so mad at something, they cut that tie, but you never know, like 5 years down the road, you might need that. Like with Doc, like we all need him. I mean, he showed me avenues. He never did it for me. Like I went out and did it on my own. And a lot of it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, but I can. But like, I never burned that bridge with him because of the connections that he has, that Shawnee has. I think that's huge as too. But again, don't think you're too good for anything.
Going to go right across the screen to Kevin.
Yeah, I piggyback on all that. And some Doc always says, how bad do you want it? Like, don't just walk in and, you know, I deserve this, or everything's expected this way. How bad do you want it? Do you want to put in the time? Do you want to put in the effort? Like, until you start, you know, showing results or like actually putting in the work, no one's going to care what accolades you have or anything like that. Like, you gotta bring it. And I believe it was from a Jay-Z song, treat your first like your last and your last like your first. You know, no matter what the project is, every event that which again, I think it was Biggie Smalls, it was off the Jay-Z song, it was a Blackout from the Black Album, but every conversion, you know, the cool thing that I enjoy so much about my job is that it's always something new. Like I said, with all these different events, the base of it is basketball, which is my heart and soul. Like, love basketball. But during like the grind of a season, I'll be like, man, you know, I got to treat, hey, we might be setting up for one of these cheerleading competitions, which I have, you know, no desire to watch or be a part of, but you got to still treat that project like it's your first one or it's your last, you know, like it's results driven, man.
Go ahead, Don.
I think what I would encourage is be a lifelong learner. You know, don't be complacent. You know, always, every day you should wake up and want to learn something in your industry, because in all reality, there's always somebody that's hungry that wants that same position you do. And the moment that you think that you got it all thrown up and you know everything, that's when you're going to get past. And that opportunity that you were looking for, you know, can slip through your fingers. But it's just, I think that's just it. Be a lifelong learner. Always want to learn something new that's going to, you know, push you along in that industry to be the best that you can be and be able to reach that end game, as Chris referred to. You know, don't just say, I want to get here, you know, figure out how to get here, but then learn the knowledge and learn the information that it takes to put you there.
Yep, I agree with everything the panel said on that subject. Question for
here's that subject. Ask Doc a whole bunch of questions, because you've got access to him every day. He's got access to all of us and a lot of people in the field. He's gone through this process 24 years, he said. So he's done a lot more than you have. So check in with Doc as well. That's why you're there. That's why he's there.
Question for Coach.
I had hair that wasn't gray when I started. I'll just say that.
I feel like I have too much hair on my panel right now. I feel like I need a haircut now.
Question for Coach K. Who's the best student newspaper reporter you have ever been interviewed by?
What a setup.
Pass.
All right. We're going to move on.
Wow. Sounds like a hard pass.
Just going through here, making sure I'm not missing missing any good questions here.
Get that one for Don there.
For Don, if you were to suit up against Rio tonight, how many buckets would you drop on him?
Hey, TV, the great question. Now, you remember CJ used to call me Mini Vinny. So, like I tell my kids, I'm almost 50 and I will give you 50. I will give Rio 50 right now. Now, understand, the next day, my body is going to hurt. You know, I'm 44 years old. I'm going to be laid up in the bed, not being able to move, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give them buckets. You know, man, I'm always going to give them buckets.
He said,
I love the question, TV.
He said, have my ibuprofen ready when I'm done.
Hey, 500 milligrams. Don't come with the little 200. Give me 500.
Going for the 50 piece.
Yeah.
So, Doc, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to you. I want to say thank you.
There you go. All right, guys, and I want to kind of wrap this up. And first of all, thank you all panelists for giving us your time. A lot of props around. If you registered for this officially, I expect to see an email from me and give me some feedback on this event. Like I said, we're hoping to be in person again next year and streaming this, but COVID's going to just dictate that. So I'd like input on how this event could improve, because we want to get it better, because we hope to do this for years to come. Also want to emphasize the thank yous to everybody who had a hand in this. Alumni Association's been huge. If you're not following them on Facebook, Twitter, please do that. They have been huge in helping. I couldn't have done this, all the support in the pub, without them. I couldn't do it alone. I've got all these advisory board, the Alumni Association. Kara, I don't know if Kara's not still on here with us, but Kara is, if you see her name, she's a sport management alum and really busts it at Shawnee State. So I'm very, very proud. Like I said, the input from all of you has been outstanding. And I'm glad, thank you all for attending this. When we break loose with this session, it'll kind of go into that lounge area, and you can float around the tables and talk to people. Feel free to do that. Alums, if you want to get involved with the program, do it. There's ways. If you haven't filled out the survey, there's a survey that's available off the Facebook sport management page. If you can't find it, let me know. I'll send you the link. There's different ways to get involved with the program. Any ways you can involve. You could end up on a panel like this, like I said, zooming into a class, hosting an intern. There's a lot of ways you can get help, because the stronger we get, the stronger you look, and the stronger you get, the stronger we look. It's a symbiotic relationship. And I can't tell you how proud I am of this program. And the program is you guys. Can I be honest? The program is you guys. You are what made it. What you go on, most of you will understand. Look, Shawnee State's a small school, right? We got 3,200 students. Most of you, when you've got jobs, guess what? You beat out somebody from a bigger school. Okay, it happened to you. You beat out somebody from a bigger school. That should tell you something. You got something what you put into your experiences. So I can't thank you enough. That's good advice. And you can do anything from here if you want it bad enough, as you've heard me say, and the panelists say. If you want it bad enough, I can't keep this into your head anymore. A scale from 1 to 10. How bad do you want it? Right. That's my first question. And that second question is that it's a trick question, right? Because I'm looking for the 11s. What extra thing are you going to do? And frankly, those who are undergraduate students right now, this is one of the things you can do, is attending a workshop like this and learning from people who have walked your shoes, right? And this is part of your network. So these are the kind of things that can set you apart. Well, I reached out to people in the industry. I know people in coaching. I know Estis has got a Shawnee grad coaching for him. All right. Kevin works for a Shawnee grad. Frank Price, who had hired a Shawnee grad. It happens. This is your network, people. So to close this off, thank you, everyone. Please, I'm so proud of what you've done, alums, current students. You got something to shoot for. This is the family we're trying to build, the reputation we're building. Everything you do enhances the program. So with that, I'm going to say thank you all. End the session. If you want to sit around and hang out in the room and move to different tables and chat with people, have at it. But it's been a great morning, people. Let's do it again. Thank you all for attending.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.